Good morning, Santa Clarita. Happy Friday! Yay! You are listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. This is SCVi, and iLead Schools Eye on the Valley. I am Matt Watson, and a little bit of a traffic update. They're doing some construction on Bouquet Canyon at Alamogordo. For those of you that live in Saugus, you're going to be at least 4 minutes late to work today. Buckle up, drive safe, because your bumper is not meant to be used as often as you're using it. Our show, Eye on the Valley, is brought to you by SCVi and iLead Schools. We are a network of free public charter schools. Did you know that all charter schools in California are free public schools? People ask me all the time, what's the difference between a charter school and a public school? And I say, yeah, I get all annoying like that. Charter school is a public school, friend. But anyways, we are a network of free public charter schools. We've got campuses on the west side of the valley in Castaic. That would be SCVi. And, you know, I say it's in Castaic. It's right off the Newhall Ranch Road and the 5 there. We've got a campus here on the east side of the valley, just up the road from where I'm at right now in downtown Newhall, iLead Agua Dulce. And then we've got a couple of campuses up in Lancaster, and we've got a couple of virtual campuses as well. iLead Online is actually just growing like mad. And then we've also got a home study program called iLead Exploration. Tell you what, pour yourself that second cup of coffee, settle in with us, and as you're listening, dial in to iLeadSchools.org to check out all 6 of our amazing schools. We've got something for whatever your child's educational needs are. That's iLeadSchools.org. So yeah, we keep our eye on education, and we keep a close watch on education here in our city, our state, and across the country. But we also like to keep our eye on the valley as well, keeping you up to date on everything you need to know about what's what here in the valley. And we also take a little bit of time to goof and giggle because, I like to laugh. And, you need to be laughing on a regular basis in your life. Even when times are hard and things are difficult. I feel like I'm going to be singing that song that Delgado was playing earlier. Whether times are good or bad, you should be giggling all the time. So we'll be doing a little bit of giggling today as well. Happy Friday. Welcome to the show. We've got another fabulous show for you today. Here in hour number 1, coming right up, we've got Laura Jaeggi from iLead Agua Dulce. I was just talking about iLead Agua Dulce. They have got the most beautiful campus that I've seen in a long, long time. And it's a special time at iLead Agua Dulce. Super exciting. More on that in just a minute. And in hour number 2, we'll have Alison Lindemann. I believe Alison is coming into the studio with us. She is the past chairwoman of the board of Circle of Hope. They do such great work supporting cancer patients. And so we'll be talking to Alison in hour number 2. And then at the very end of the show, we've got Big T's 5 Minutes of Fame. For those of you not familiar with the show, that's when my big brother calls in with fun facts, trivia questions, questionable life advice. So yeah, it's the only thing that takes away from what otherwise is going to be an amazing show. So, but Mom makes me. But let's go ahead and do it. Like I said, my first guest today is Laura Jaeggi. Laura holds a BA from Occidental College, an MA from Pepperdine University, as well as a master's and administrative credential. She has been a multiple-time nominee for Who's Who of America's Teachers. That is quite a prestigious award because you've got to be nominated by your students. So, yeah, a multiple-time nominee for Who's Who of America's Teachers, and a recipient of the Excellence in Teaching Award from the LA Education Partnership. She has served as a teacher, a magnet coordinator, an interventionist, and Laura joined us this year, aren't we lucky, as the leadership resident at iLead Agua Dulce. Good morning, Laura. Welcome back to Eye on the Valley.
Hi, Matt. How are you?
Doing great. How are you this morning?
I'm hanging in there. Thanks for having me today.
Absolutely. Yeah, you just hang on for a few more hours, and then we're going to get you a 3-day weekend, Laura. So I was reading, your bio here. You have got quite an impressive background in education, an amazing pedigree. So why don't you tell us, just elaborate a little bit more on some of the stuff that I didn't read. How did your path lead you to iLead?
So my oldest daughter actually had been a student at SCVi from kindergarten to 3rd grade, and when we moved, she was the one that decided to switch schools so we could be a little bit closer to home. But we loved SCVi. She loved the sort of hands-on learning. She loved the fact that she could loop with her teachers for 2 years.
Oh, yeah.
She, it was sort of experiential in a way that that I certainly never saw when I was in school, and something that really allowed my daughter to grow and thrive as a student herself. And so even after she left iLead, I sort of just kept it in the back of my head. It was something that I was really impressed with and something that really just sort of resonated with me in terms of my own educational philosophy and values. And I finally found, what sort of felt like a good fit for me, and I interviewed for the position to be the leadership resident here, and was hired to be a part of the Agua Dulce faculty, which I'm just so excited about.
Absolutely. It's an amazing team. I mentioned before, it's a beautiful place to work and to study. But Laura, you're a leadership resident at iLead Agua Dulce. What does that mean? Because we kind of like to put our own nomenclature on things. What are your responsibilities as a leadership resident?
So I do feel like sometimes we need like an iLead to English dictionary,
Yes.
Just to make sure we can keep track of all the vocabulary.
Oh, yeah.
So leadership resident, it means essentially I'm the assistant director.
Okay.
And so, the basic roles and responsibilities that I have is that I support Ms. Maxwell, our school director, in just the basic everyday daily operations of running the school. But I think that one of the greatest lessons that I've learned in being a part of iLead and maybe, just being a part of Agua Dulce specifically is that everybody wears 1,000 hats every day.
Oh, yeah.
And so in addition to doing discipline and helping with student support and providing academic counseling and communicating with parents, I'm also mentoring new teachers. I'm event planning. I'm doing PR. I'm subbing in classes. I'm providing coverage for some of our care team members. For me, it feels like every day I'm learning something new. I'm trying something new, and I'm doing something new to make sure that I'm providing as much support as I possibly can for this school.
Yeah, it is one of the things about charter schools. We do have to run kind of a lean crew. I won't get into the realities of charter school finance, but we work hard and we play hard, right? So let's back up just a little bit and talk about iLead Agua Dulce. I mentioned how unique it is, what a beautiful campus it is. You know what? Just, even if you're not in the market to change schools for your kid, you might want to take a tour of iLead Agua Dulce. It's just a beautiful place to hang out and spend some time. So, Laura, why don't you tell our listeners a little bit about, first of all, what grades iLead Agua Dulce serves, and then what makes the school, both the campus as well as kind of the ethos, so unique and fun to be around.
Yeah. So, our neighbor is Vasquez Rock. So you weren't kidding, Matt, that we are in such a beautiful, beautiful area. I don't think that it could be more picturesque, honestly. We are TK through 12. We have about 370 students on our campus this year. I love the fact that we run the entire gamut of age ranges. So I have the littles who hug me around my ankles every day, and and then I'm planning graduation with our group of seniors who are going to be exiting campus this year, which is really, really exciting. Agua Dulce, just the community itself is very unique and boutique feeling. It doesn't feel like it's a part of LA County really at all. Very rural, very sort of community-oriented, very sort of hometown-centered. And I think a lot of those values are reflected on the campus as well. There's many people who are from the Acton Agua Dulce community that work on the campus, that grew up in this area, that have a lot of, for lack of a better term, they have a lot of skin in the game here. They have a lot of investment in being a part of this community and making sure that it feels authentic to what Agua Dulce as a larger community is. We have an animal science program here. We have a garden that we're working on building out to a true farm-to-table program. We have just a lot of opportunities for our families to be active participants in what what opportunities and what programs and what events that we have on the campus, so that iLead Agua Dulce really feels like an extension of Agua Dulce proper.
Yeah, it really does, and to that Agua Dulce community, their school is really really important to them, and you are absolutely right. The community, we're talking about the physical environments, the people that make up the community, just the entire feel. I feel like my blood pressure drops about 10 points every time I walk on campus. So
Definitely.
zooming out a little bit more, we're going to kind of zoom out to the iLead level, because our entire network of schools was kind of founded on sort of three foundational pillars. I'm talking about project-based learning, social emotional learning, and personalized learning. Can you take a little time to break each one of those down for our listeners and talk about what those three things are and what they look like on the iLead Agua Dulce campus?
Yeah, so I think that one of the most important things to keep in mind is that education is not about what people are learning so much as how they are learning it. Education is not a one-size-fits-all. And I think that is probably my biggest takeaway as being an educator for the last 25 years, is that we're not teaching curriculum, we're teaching people.
Yes.
And I think that iLead really sort of has their finger on the pulse of what that means and what that is supposed to look like in practice. We want to make sure that the needs and the values and the interests of our learners are actually being considered when we have them sitting in our classrooms, that what makes them tick and what lights them up inside, what those aha moments are. We want to maximize those as often as possible, so that we're actually maximizing the learning experience. PBL allows our learners to really get their hands dirty when it comes to what they're learning, and it's an experiential and not sitting at a desk with a piece of paper and a pencil and just sort of reciting back to their teacher, facts and figures and dates and, things that don't mean anything because it's so one-dimensional. Project-based learning really makes that learning experience real and come alive for our learners. I think that one of the other things that's important to understand about PBL is that it's very interdisciplinary. And so subjects don't happen in a silo. Math doesn't exist by itself. Language arts doesn't exist by itself. And PBL really allows for that sort of interconnectedness to happen between all of those different subject areas. I think that social emotional learning is so essential to making sure that learners feel safe and seen and supported when they are on our campus, because if they don't feel like they are safe and seen and supported, if they're not an individual with their own unique experiences, then they can't invest themselves in the learning. That check mark needs to be taken care of in terms of their own mental well-being before the academic well-being can even happen. And then the personalized learning, like I had said before, is that education is not a one-size-fits-all. I can't just hand a package to a group of 30 learners and expect everybody to learn in the exact same way. And so I think that what's really unique about iLead, just in general, is that we really want to focus on and make sure that we're paying attention to what it is that those learners are bringing to the table and how we can meet those needs best, like I said before, to maximize their learning experiences.
Laura, the lights just went on in my office, and my team is running around like crazy right now. They grabbed that phrase, "We're not teaching curriculum, we're teaching people," and they are busy printing it on every piece of promotional material that we have right now. You are absolutely right. I always phrased it like, saying, I don't teach 2 grades, I teach 25 kids, right? And that is absolutely true. And we've found a way to codify that and replicate it at each one of our schools. And you certainly are doing an amazing job at it, you and the team at iLead Agua Dulce. We're talking this morning with Laura Jaeggi from iLead Agua Dulce. She's the leadership resident, and this month they've got a lot of special things going on at their school, milestone things that we'll talk about when we get back. You stay tuned. I am Matt Watson. This is SCVi and iLead Schools Eye on the Valley, and you're listening to your hometown station, KHTS. I thought I just heard our friends at Whitaker Plumbing say, "Your sink is tripping." I thought, oh, if your sink is tripping, you don't need a plumber, you need an exorcist. But that's not what they said. They said your sink is dripping, and you need one of the amazing plumbers from Whitaker Plumbing. But anyways, we are back. Yeah, we've been back for a good 10 seconds now. And you are listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. Also on Facebook Live. Check us out there. You can kind of peek into the studio. It's a little bit creepy for me, but it'll be a little bit more entertaining for you. And you can also check us out on the KHTS app. Download us on your phone, or you can go to hometownstation.com and click the Listen Live button. There's all different kinds of ways. There's no excuse that you should not be listening to your hometown station. I am joined this morning by Laura Jaeggi. She's the leadership resident at iLead Agua Dulce Public Charter School. Yes, for those of you just turning in, iLead Agua Dulce is a free public charter school located just north of us here in downtown Newhall, just past Canyon Country on the 14 freeway, serving grades TK through 12th grade. That's right. They got the Whittle Biddies starting next year. Some of those Whittle Biddies are going to be 3 years old, and they've also got graduating seniors graduating here in just another week or two. So let's talk, Laura, a little bit about some of the unique spaces. You talked about some of the projects and the amazing way y'all individualize education, but let's talk about some of those unique spaces, both indoors and outdoors. Your campus really reflects the community of Agua Dulce, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. So we have, like I mentioned earlier, we have the animal science program, and I think that was one of the most unique elements of this campus that I sort of had to get my head around. I came from LA Unified. Like, we don't have animals on our campus. You know, we have concrete on LA Unified campuses. And so when I came to when I came to iLead Agua Dulce, we have a cow, we have an alpaca, we have 2 pigs, a donkey, 2 goats, and a whole flock of chickens. That the younger learners have an opportunity a couple days a week to learn how to truly care for. An animal science program that's run by a vet tech that we have working on our campus. Miss Amber is amazing. We have a garden that we're slowly building out year after year that Miss Miranda takes care of and cultivates, and as she's teaching our kids how to garden and what does our food look like when it's still in the ground, and how do we take care of it, and what are the different ways that we can cook those foods? And so as the kids get older, they have opportunities to take that produce and bring it up to our village and make different recipes with it. We have an outdoor classroom space that Miss Michaela is in charge of, and so really it's an extension of the TK and kindergarten classes and the learning that's taking place in those 3 different classrooms. And they're learning about physics. They're learning about health and wellness. They're learning about literature, and all of that is taking place out in the fresh air, which I think is truly a testament to the values and the beliefs and like you had said, the ethos of Agua Dulce as a community. It's just such a unique boutique experience for learning and education that we have going on here at iLead Agua Dulce.
You know, it really is, and I keep telling folks they need to take a tour. Laura, can you share with our listeners how much it costs to take a tour at iLead Agua Dulce?
It costs $0, Matt. I don't know why everyone isn't coming every Thursday and taking a tour with Miss Gladys.
Every Thursday, you can sign up on the website at ileadaguadulce.org. You know, you mentioned Miss Michaela, just one of the amazing educators there at iLead Agua Dulce. Here's a fun fact for you, Laura. Did you know that Miss Michaela was actually in my 4th grade class as a student?
I didn't.
Out there at SCVi, yes.
Small world,
yeah.
yes.
Well, she's stayed with the family since I believe she was in kindergarten, and so yeah, not only did she attend our school all the way through high school graduation, but then she decided to stick around and make a career out of it. But we digress.
Definitely.
Yeah, just talking about one of the amazing educators at iLead Agua Dulce. But one of the reasons we really wanted to have you here as we come toward the end of May is, we're coming up on the end of the school year. iLead Agua Dulce has had or is about to have some really beautiful events. So I kind of want to run down a few of the events that y'all have on campus, whether they just passed or they're coming up, and have you tell our listeners about them. You have an annual day of play. So this is the one day of the year that the kids at iLead Agua Dulce get to play. The other 364, they're not allowed to play. I'm totally wrong, right?
Absolutely. I mean, one of our sort of underlying core values at iLead Agua Dulce is play-based learning.
Yes.
Like kids should be kids as often as they can for as long as they can, and so like I had mentioned earlier, they're getting in the mix of it. They're getting dirty and they're getting their hands-on experiences for their learning. But on the day of play, Miss Maxwell and I really didn't know what we were walking into. But it was one whole Friday where we had bubble stations, and we had a foam dance party, and we had Orbeez, and we had hula hoop contests, and we had a giant chess set out on the blacktop, and it was just an opportunity for all of the kids to really just be kids and just to sort of like celebrate how great it is to just have fun, and like how important it is, honestly, just for your own social, emotional wellness to just take a breath and pause for a second and, just enjoy being with one another.
Absolutely. And you and I have both studied education for quite a long time. We've studied child development. And so folks would ask the question, okay, play-based learning, we get it. It's important for toddlers and littles as they're growing up. But there's always that question of, when is it time for kids to stop playing and get to work? And of course, the answer to that is when they turn 97. Let's move on to another really cool, amazing project. You've got Glider Day, and this amazing project around flight. Talk to us about Glider Day.
So we had a glider on campus for the kids to come in and sit in and play with the controls. It was actually here for our play day. Just
cool.
As a display, we had that. I don't know. Are they still pilots when it's a glider?
I'll answer that question for you. So we're talking about not the little balsa wood gliders that you chuck across the backyard. We're talking about a full two-seat glider. It's an airplane
like
without engines.
Honest to goodness glider. Yeah, it was like legit the real deal.
And Laura, I will tell you, when our kids went out and piloted the glider about 2 years ago, our then Congressman Mike Garcia came out and spent the day with them. And if you guys know Mike Garcia, he was a fighter pilot in the Navy. Mm-hmm. And he actually told the kids, no. What I did was a multi-million-dollar piece of machinery that was doing all the flying. When you're piloting a glider, that is true flying. That's his words, not mine.
That's awesome.
So the glider was on campus, and it's part of a project, right?
Yeah, so it's a part of a project, and so it is one of our upcoming POLs, presentations of learning. So students are learning about the physics of flight. We have some of our learners who are building their own sort of paper airplanes to emulate what is entailed, what's involved with flight, and then our older learners are studying the physics of a glider and how do you keep it up in the air and how does it go forward, and I can't even use all the words that are involved with it, but we have both of those presentations of learning happening as a result of the glider.
Yeah, some really like high register but one syllable words like pitch and yaw and things like that our kids will be talking about.
Yeah,
As a matter of fact, Laura,
exactly.
you and I are excited about sliding into a 3-day weekend, but there's a lot of your learners, which is what we call students, there's a lot of your
Hmm.
students that aren't getting a 3-day weekend this weekend because their school continues tomorrow. They're going to be out at the glider port actually flying those gliders tomorrow, aren't they?
Yes, they are. Yes, they
Yeah.
are. We have a whole handful that are going to have that experience to see what it's like to be a glider pilot, and what all of that entails. And I think that our learners are really excited about this opportunity. And I think that it's one of those examples of what makes iLead Agua Dulce such a unique learning experience.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And, what an incredible thing to culminate a school project by flying an
Hmm.
engineless airplane. I mean, can you even imagine? Laura, I can, because when we first launched this project, I was director at the school and had to test it out, making sure it was safe for the kids. Such an amazing experience.
Obviously.
Anyways, you've got a thing called Jamboree that I believe y'all just held last week. Am I right?
We did.
What's
We
Jamboree?
did. So Jamboree is almost like Playday Part 2. I feel like
Right.
it's the best way.
Love it.
And so Playday is an opportunity really mostly it's kid focused, but the Jamboree really is whole community focused. So parents are on campus. It's after school. We have local vendors coming in, selling crafts that they've made, or food trucks. We have rock band performing some of the music that they've been practicing. We have baskets for silent auctions. I can't tell you how many learners were doing silent auctions to throw a pie in my face. Like, I have had more pies in my face this school year than I've ever had in my whole life. And like, Jamboree, it was another one of those experiences where I think that Miss Maxwell and I really couldn't get our head around what it was that we were going to be walking into. But I also felt like it was such a great opportunity for my own family to really sort of see what my school community was about. So I brought my mom, my older daughter, the one that had been at SCVi, and then my younger daughter. I brought them with me to Jamboree so that they could see what our school was all about. And my mom said over and over again while she was here, she's like, I can't believe that this gets to be your community. She's like, this is such a cool place that you get to work. And, it really sort of warmed the cockles of my heart that with only being there for a couple hours, she could really see how great of a community and how great of a school this really is.
Yeah, it really is a great place. Again, to work, to learn, to just hang out. Now, I know your
Hmm.
sophomores have got something, I think it's coming up here pretty soon. It's the 10th grade personal project. Am I right? Is that about to
The
happen?
Passion Project.
Yeah.
No, we actually started it yesterday. So
Oh, okay.
Miss Angie, one of the leadership directors, was on campus. She sort of oversees it. And so each of our 10th graders gets to choose a topic that they're passionate about. And really, it's anything under the sun. Like, what's the thing that lights you up? What's the thing that you get fired up about that you can't wait to learn more about? And so they do a whole slew of investigation about whatever this topic is, art, physics, a particular individual that, they find fascinating. And then they do the research for it, and then they present this learning that they've sort of cultivated to the rest of their classmates, to share what that experience was, to share what it is about this topic or this subject or this person that's so fascinating for them. What is their passion about this thing? So they're sharing their learning, and they're just sharing their own sort of a little piece of themselves, I guess, which I think is such a cool opportunity for our high schoolers to have. They don't get asked enough who you are and what makes you tick. It's so focused so often about what you have to learn and the check boxes that you have to accomplish to make sure that you're ready to get your diploma.
Yeah, and such an amazing opportunity that they get a whole year to explore what they're passionate
Hmm.
about, and then of course do some deep research, identify a mentor, and develop a product around it. Laura, I promised you a little bit earlier that we'd have you done by 8:45, but I'm going to make myself a liar. Laura, we still haven't gotten to one of the most exciting events that people have been talking about on your campus all year long. Um, and we need to take another quick break. If I promise to get you out of here 5 minutes before your meeting starts, can you stick around with us for just a little while longer?
I think that we could work that out.
Fantastic. We are talking to Laura Jaeggi, leadership resident with iLead Agua Dulce, and they have got a first time ever event about to happen on their campus. You'll learn more about that when we come back. I am Matt Watson, and this is SCVi and iLead School's Eye on the Valley on your hometown station, KHTS. Welcome back. You are listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. I am your fun-filled, far-fetched fantasy facilitator, Matt Watson, and you are listening to SCVi and iLead School's Eye on the Valley. I'm joined this morning by leadership resident at our beautiful campus here on the east side of town, iLead Agua Dulce. Her name is Laura Jaeggi. Laura, thank you so much for sticking around. I wanted to get into this. I mentioned before the break, we are coming up on a first ever at iLead Agua Dulce. So iLead Agua Dulce, well, yeah, it's still a newish school, still got that new school smell, founded in 2018. But at the time it was an elementary school, but you kept growing, adding a grade level or two each year. And this year, iLead Agua Dulce will have its first ever graduating class. That is so exciting. So what are some of the things happening around our first graduates this year?
So they are they're such a unique group of individuals. And I think that one of the reasons why they're here is because they didn't want a traditional high school experience. And so they're definitely not getting that. Being at an independent study program and being at iLead Agua Dulce. And so rather than a prom, they did like an escape room night instead and had a dinner just with the four of them, to sort of have their own sort of like community building. Yeah. We had our senior signing day / award ceremony last Thursday to celebrate their accomplishments over the course of their time in high school and to celebrate their acceptances to the different schools that they're all intending to go to next year. So we have two going to Otis College of Art and Design. We have one going to LCAD down in Laguna. And then we have two who are starting out at COC, one of whom is going into hospitality, one who is intending to study nursing. But in addition to those schools that they're actually going to, we also had acceptances to UC Merced, Cal State Northridge, San Francisco State. I think I'm forgetting one also, but, quite an impressive list for such a small but mighty group of graduates. I think it's also really cool that one of our juniors accelerated her learning, and so she's graduating a year early. Oh, wow. So I think that definitely deserves to be celebrated. Sure. But the big culminating event is on June 5th at 5 o'clock at the Agua Dulce Women's Club. We are having our very first graduation ceremony to celebrate this group of five, which I'm very excited about.
That is amazing. So exciting. So that first graduation is always, it's the first everything that always sets the tradition, right? So, yes. So who's been kind of planning and designing the whole graduation experience? Is this something that you and the director, Wendy Maxwell, have designed yourselves?
It's actually, so I've been planning graduations for, I feel like, a really long time at this point. I sort of oversaw that at my previous high school. So it is myself, Miss Byrne, one of our high school facilitators. We have one of our elementary facilitators who does a lot of the event planning for the big events we have happening on our campus. And then our business manager, who is super crafty and, makes a lot of her own crafts and whatnot, who just has a really great eye for design and for, decorating and whatnot. So the four of us are the graduation planning committee, and really trying to make this upcoming event special and unique and memorable for our graduates.
Yeah, that is going to be so exciting, and I absolutely cannot wait to celebrate with some of these kids. Have been obviously not with iLead Agua Dulce. iLead Agua Dulce itself is not even 10 years old, but some of your graduates have been at an iLead school since they were in kindergarten, I believe. And
yes, that's true.
It's such an amazing time. High school graduation is always fun-filled, but when you've got a small group like that, you can really, really personalize the ceremony. It's not one of these massive groups where the family's waiting around for 2.5 hours just to hear their kid's name read. It really is personalized.
Exactly.
So, Laura, we've talked about so much. You offer TK through 12th grade, so you got folks dropping off their witty-bitty babies all the way through, junior high and high school. We mentioned some of the amazing projects. You've got learners that are learning the state standards through learning the principles of flight and piloting gliders tomorrow. On their weekend, they're going to be piloting some gliders as the culmination of their school project. You've got, farm-to-table programs. You've got career pathways that you're developing there. You've got high school graduation coming up. And then you mentioned, of course, the beautiful campus that's right there adjacent to Vasquez Rocks. Couldn't find a more beautiful place. You've got cows on campus. You've got an alpaca. You've got pigs. And I understand, although I don't think I've ever seen one out there as many times as I've been there, someone told me you have dinosaur chickens on campus.
Oh, man, I really want dinosaur chickens. We have a 3D printer, and I really have hopes and dreams of 3D printing dinosaur arms to put on our chickens. It's going to happen. It has to happen.
Well, if it's going to happen, you need to make it happen, Laura.
I'm working on it. I promise you, Matt.
Okay. Sounds good. So there's so many great things going on, and you mentioned all of it. TK through 12th grade, you've only got 400 learners on campus. It's a really small, intimate, personalized feel, right? Every child is getting their own personalized path. And I can't imagine a family that wouldn't be interested in that. So if folks are looking to enroll, how would they do that, Laura?
You would enroll online. You go to our website and you're going to fill out the application. I have to warn everyone, we do have a waiting list right now, but it's always better to make sure that you get your name on that list, and when a spot opens up, that you will be contacted to fill those vacant seats.
Okay, so again, they go to the website, iLeadAguaDulce.org, and typically, what you would think the standard process is you click on take a tour, right? And so then you wait until Thursday. Yes. You go out, you take your tour, you fall in love with the campus, you ask the amazing Gladys, okay, how do I sign up? And she directs you back to the website where the application is. I always tell my listeners to put the cart before the horse, because that enrollment application is what actually gets you in line. So fill that out first. Again, costs $0 to fill out the application, get in line, and then you can take the tour. And if you decide that it's not for you, you can pull your application later. Again, the application is free. The tour is free. The tuition is free. We are a public school. Alrighty. Well, Laura, I want to thank you for joining us this morning. I know you've got lots of things to do, and you're very busy there at iLead Agua Dulce, but you absolutely crushed it this morning. Thanks for sharing. You have a wonderful weekend.
Thank you, Matt. Have a great day.
You take care. And speaking of weekends, we get a long one this weekend coming up. It is Memorial Day, and I mentioned before, well, I don't know if maybe I mentioned it off the air. I did want to share a little bit of the history of Memorial Day. Jen, you're aware of Memorial Day. That is the day that that we honor those, not just veterans like we do on Veterans Day, but we honor those who paid the ultimate sacrifice and lost their lives defending our country. But Memorial Day, it's a U.S. federal holiday held on the last Monday of May, common knowledge. It's dedicated to honoring and remembering those who have died while serving in the U.S. military. But its roots lie in the aftermath of the Civil War, going all the way back to the mid-19th century, evolving from local observances that became a national holiday. It was after the Civil War, communities, just, small families and neighbors and things like that, they would start holding days of remembrance in honor of the fallen soldiers, oftentimes decorating their graves with flowers and wreaths and things like that. Families in both the North and the South would honor their lost as they would head out to the grave sites and decorate the graves. It was actually the ladies of Columbus, Georgia, in April of 1866, who lobbied for a clearly defined Memorial Day to place flowers on the graves of the Civil War dead. A couple years later, it was General John A. Logan, Commander-in-Chief of the Grand Army of the Republic, who called for a national day of remembrance, called the entire nation to remember those lost in the Civil War, and he designated it as May 30th to decorate the graves of Union soldiers. In 1873, now we're about a decade later, New York became the first state to officially recognize the holiday, and all of the other Union states recognized what we call Decoration Day by 1890. Again, across the nation, it was a day to decorate the graves of fallen Civil War soldiers, and slowly Decoration Day became known as Memorial Day, and continued through the late 19th century and early 20th century as an informal patriotic holiday. It just continued every year, not being declared a national holiday, even after World War I, when the event was extended to honor all those who had died in any American war. It wasn't until May 11th, 1950, that Congress got involved at all. And they didn't even declare it a national holiday. They passed a joint resolution requesting the president to issue a proclamation calling upon the people of the United States to observe each Memorial Day as a day of prayer for permanent peace, and designating a period during each such day when the people of the United States might unite in such supplication. Was not declared, it was 1966 when they officially recognized the century of Memorial Day. It didn't get declared a national holiday until the year I was born, 1971.
I'm surprised it took that long.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was moved from May 30th to the last Monday in May. Today, almost 160 years after that first Decoration Day, all across the United States, grave sites will be decorated once again, honoring our fallen heroes. So whatever you're doing this weekend, make sure you take the time on Monday to pause, reflect, and say a prayer or express some sort of gratitude for those who gave their all for our country in the act of ultimate sacrifice. Enjoy the holiday. When we get back, we'll talk to Alison Lindemann, board member for Circle of Hope, doing amazing things in our community. I'm Matt Watson. You're listening to SCVi and iLead School's Eye on the Valley. We'll be right back on your hometown station, KHTS. Welcome back. You are listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. This is Matt Watson, and you are listening to SCVi and iLead School's Eye on the Valley. Happy Friday, friends. It is an absolutely amazing Friday. I'm looking out the window here at the station, and it is gorgeous outside. Supposed to top out in the mid to high 70s this weekend. We're going to get a 3-dayer. What are you doing this weekend? I mean, getting into the summer and spring and summertime here in Santa Clarita. We love getting out. We love doing things. What have you got going on? That is one of the things I love about our city, is there's always an event going on, always something to do. I remember, I live up in Saugus, and I remember just a couple weeks ago, Boots in the Park. Man, that park absolutely exploded. Folks were parking. I live about a mile from the park, and folks were parking past my house and heading out. Our community loves their boots, loves their brews, and I've got a very special guest now that if that's your vein, if you're into country music and barbecue and some brews, and you're not looking to break the bank, boy, has she got an event for you, but that's not all she's doing. I'm talking about Alison Lindemann. Alison is the past chairwoman of the board of Circle of Hope. She is the chair of this amazing event coming up that you'll hear about in just a second. She is also the owner of WSI Internet Consulting and Digital Marketing Services, where she helps firms and with web design and development, internet and social media marketing, search engine optimization, and video marketing, and so much more. She attended Washington University in St. Louis, an avid tennis player, and the quintessential community member, always involved, always giving back, and serving tirelessly, including supporting those dealing with the devastating diagnosis of cancer within the Santa Clarita Valley at the Circle of Hope. Alison Lindemann, welcome back to Eye on the Valley.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you so much.
Oh, we're so glad to
Happy
have
to
you
be here.
Thanks for coming in. I want to talk about this amazing event you've got coming up, but it's you and I were talking about it during the commercial break. It's an amazing event, but it's one of those events that's going to cost you about as much as you're going to spend on dinner on a Saturday night anyways.
Yeah.
So super affordable, and you've got so much going on. And for my listeners, I'm going to just leave it right there, because not only is it an amazing event, you're doing it for an absolutely incredible cause. I mentioned the business that you own, and you do great work, but you're not here to talk about that today. You're here to talk about Circle of Hope. So let's start here. Can you tell our listeners a little bit about Circle of Hope, your history, your mission? What do y'all do?
Yeah. So we are just past our 20-year anniversary. Mm-hmm. When we were founded by Colleen Schaefer, it was for breast cancer and financial assistance were the missions. So we were only seeing women and women with breast cancer, and it was more of a financial thing. We didn't have a building. That's how it got off the ground. And then over the course of time, we expanded. I can't say I remember all my timelines, but we started offering services to all types of cancer. Mm-hmm. The only caveat is we don't offer services to children, but that's why we have the amazing Michael Hofflin here.
Absolutely.
So we
great synergy
covered
there.
both.
Yeah.
So you need to be an adult, but it's all cancers, men, women, any types, any stages. Unfortunately, cancer doesn't target any one person that you might think. So.
Right.
So I was just talking to a doctor this week and explaining a little more about us, because they came into a meeting from outside the area that I was attending and said we're sort of the sister organization of a lot of the medical facilities here in Santa Clarita. So while some of them may have some mental health services, many don't.
Okay.
And we're not providing a staff of therapists. We're providing peer-to-peer, in some cases, emotional support. So I've got cancer going on and you got cancer going on. And we're going to befriend and maybe do some activities together and maybe commiserate a little bit about what I got and what you got and what hurts me and what did you do about it.
Just connect on that common experience that maybe my best friend or my sister-in-law or my golf buddies don't necessarily understand the way you and I do.
Yeah, and if you want to bring your buddy and I want to bring my buddy also,
all right, because
you feel like those buddies would grow from understanding, they could come with you.
It's beautiful.
And be part of it, So you can see, and you see, of course, a lot of times you see husband, wife, but many times you see brother, sister, friend with a friend, and they come there, and I'm sure if you ask them, they all have different reasons, but a lot of times it's to just get emotional support because they do want to hear from other people.
Yep.
We have an emotional support group. I've been facilitating that group since before COVID, so a while. And we have something interesting. Probably just about as many men come as women now.
Oh, great.
When I started, it was mostly talking about boobs.
Okay.
Now,
not opposed to it, Jen.
We're talking about all kinds of things from top to bottom.
Okay.
And there's a very comfortable feeling, which warms my heart, among them. So they feel free to talk to each other, because that's the idea, is to come in, have a little enjoyment, hopefully. We have a really nice living room that looks like you're at home with
nice.
15 seats at a couch and other chairs and things, looks like a living room. We have snacks and drinks, and we're just hanging out. We don't even really have a set, I'll call it, agenda. We might go around to introduce people. We think, especially if there's new people, knowing who all's in the room, so we can be a little sensitive to the new person who got a stage 4 diagnosis, versus, I don't want to demean an easy cancer.
Sure,
Because
sure.
the cancer C word is the C word. But
Yeah.
and a lot of times you'll see people kind of pair off. Oh, especially men. Oh, you got stage 3 prostate. Yeah, so do I.
Yeah, come here.
What
Let me
drugs
tell you
are
what you're into.
on?
Okay, yeah,
Kind of thing.
Yeah.
Some will form friendships outside of Circle of Hope. So that's what the whole center's about, even though we also have classes that they sign up for that are just fun classes, jewelry making, dancing, journaling.
Sure.
They also can attend individual therapy treatments like massage or Reiki that are given to them by practitioners who are skilled in understanding that these are oncology related. You're not going to probably massage someone undergoing cancer right now the same way as someone who just goes into a med
very
spa.
specialized
So they
type of service. Yeah.
And those are free.
Wow.
Free.
That's amazing.
So when we ask people to come to our events or support us, we're doing all this for zero. We have a building, we have a rent, we have staff, and we don't get any substantial support, like government-wise or anything. We are doing it off the streets of Santa Clarita.
Well, and that's part of your mission. I was looking at your About Us page on your website, which is an amazing website, circleofhopeinc.org, circleofhopeinc.org. You got to get on their website just to see what they're doing. But on the About section, it talks about how survivorship is expensive. And that's sort of kind of where Circle of Hope was born. Can you talk about that phrase, that survivorship is expensive?
Yeah. So, I mean, you could take it farther, and it costs you many things emotionally and others. So, I mean, I could go on because I obviously do the support group. So I have a lot of opinions on, like, I don't want to say you're branded because I love it. That's another story if we had time, but I wouldn't take back my cancer because it has changed my life, and I wouldn't be sitting here with you.
Oh, interesting.
I wouldn't, because it wouldn't have led me to Circle of Hope in the way that it did. So
God bless you.
Numerous people on our board. I should get the number so I can tell it in the future. Over half of our board are cancer survivors, and it's probably quite a bit more than that. I just didn't tally it up. So, so that must be a calling. But I do, when the interactions and friends I have in that community, I would not have had. I feel lucky to have those interactions. So, and that phrase, I mean, truly, the costs financially are also beyond what you think. It's not many treatments that you go through it and go, even with the best insurance. I mean, one, depending on the time of year, all of it hits, you got your deductibles. A person like me knows that thing's getting wiped out in the first 3 months of the year. If I'm tending to have my mammogram and scans and things earlier on in the year, I'm going to be paying out a lot of cash.
Yeah.
I just know my deductible is going to be met each year, so I buy plans appropriate for that. But then for these clients who are actively in the battle, it's constant, because they're doing 80-20, or like second opinions. We might help encourage them to get a second opinion, and we pay for it.
Wow.
So it depends on the scenario. We pay some people's insurance.
Yeah.
Because we don't want them to stop, that would
Getting
be tragic.
treatment, yes.
So they need to qualify. We use the state, the county guidelines for certain levels of need.
Okay.
And so it has to be a need-based,
Right.
financially need-based, because some people are unable to work. So
Yes.
their income has gone down. So, when you look at, we all know, people don't judge people when you don't know. They could have been the Joneses.
Sure.
But then they had to give up a job because they're
Right.
too sick, and now
And this
they don't-
diagnosis will burn through that nest egg you've been saving
And
for years.
and and you have two kids you were hoping to go to college,
Right.
you know. So we screen, you know, because we have a pretty limited amount of funding for that part of our organization. That's part of why we want to find some more creative ways to fundraise, because we want to do two things: that increase the amount of financial support we're able to give to people in Santa Clarita, and take on the Spanish speaking market. So they
yeah.
call in, and they are entitled to all the same benefits if they live here. But we haven't always had a staff
Sure.
or practitioners.
Sure.
You know, where
Well, yeah, it's one thing to be able to answer the phone and understand what someone's going through, but it's another thing to be able to provide
The
some of those
services.
therapeutic services
Yeah.
to a Spanish-speaking
so
client.
you know,
yeah.
to me personally, I feel like we should be on a search for a grant that
Yeah.
would help us, support us to understand that we need increased staffing and abilities to print materials in Spanish, and having someone there speaking Spanish, you know, to help this group.
Yeah.
We have a small contingency of individuals who really support this, that are, I think, going to help push it through. But we've got to get the funding.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what? I'm going to put a call out right now because we've got such a generous community, but folks don't always realize that the services that they can provide are needed and are so incredibly valuable. So if you are a therapist or someone that provides some of these services and you're bilingual, give Circle of Hope a
Yeah,
call.
thank you.
In fact, I know Big T's listening, and his wife has got a friend who is fully bilingual and is a licensed therapist here in town. Tony, reach out to her and have her give Allison a call. And then, yeah, if you're a business, you got to get behind Circle of Hope and the amazing things that they're doing. Allison, I love hearing that you guys started out as providing services strictly for women, and not all women, just women dealing with breast cancer. And today, your clientele is almost 50-50 men. I love men and women. Love hearing that, because men, typically we don't reach out for help.
You know what,
we
Matt? It has really changed even in the last 1 year, 1.5 years for
Wow.
the parts I'm involved in. How many more men come in, and how many more, like we always saw women do, just pour out.
Yeah.
Like, come to the first meeting. You know, it's a little, I haven't been to one, but from what I've seen on TV, it has that little AA feeling to it. When
Okay.
people first come in, it's like, hi, I'm so-and-so, and this is what I have.
Yeah, okay.
And then, you know, the new person, we're like, oh, come in, the new
Yeah.
person, let them tell a little more of their story and what you hope to get out of being in this group.
Yeah.
So there's like a lot of vulnerability, and
Sure.
you'll see sometimes we had men in the past that just observed more than participated.
Yeah.
It's very participative. Just was it last week or the week before? A gentleman in there said, "Oh, I see, because I have a collectible car, which I don't drive a whole lot, so I had it at the meeting, and he knew it had to be mine. He's like, are you coming to Coffee and Cars this week? And he's like, please
Nice.
bring that car. But you got these little
Yeah.
things. I mean, I consider a lot of them my friends.
Yeah.
Because they are in
Yeah.
our community.
Yeah, it's a
know?
community supporting itself, and
Yeah.
love the hyper localized nature of the services that you provide. And you rely almost exclusively on donations. Do you receive any federal funding or anything like that?
Very, very. No, we are. I believe we got one grant from the city of Santa Clarita.
Okay.
You know,
God bless our city. Yeah.
We try. We try, and once in a while we might get something.
Sure.
And what the challenge of those some things are that they come with requirements, understandable, to enhance programs or kick off new programs. So while we take it and it helps if it's aligned with something we need to do, it's a challenge because you can't use it for operating revenue.
Yeah.
So we just have more people coming
Yeah.
in the doors. We could use a little bit bigger center. We're giving
Sure.
more free services away, but a lot of the grants don't really want you to use it for operating revenue.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we are launching, it's soft launched right now, a monthly giving
Oh, cool.
program. So if anyone in the community feels touched, because who hasn't been touched by cancer?
Right.
But if anyone has had friends or family that maybe came to Circle of Hope, or just in general, they appreciate what we do, they can sign up, and it's like they can do $10 a month if they want.
Yeah.
So we're gonna just try to do a community outreach to see if we could get people to just cut us a little sliver to help us do the things that we need. Because those same people, unfortunately, next month will be bringing someone in they know.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Unfortunately, that
Yeah.
does seem to be the truth. We're talking to Alison Lindemann. She is the past chairwoman of the board of Circle of Hope. A cancer diagnosis is not only devastating, not only deadly, but ridiculously expensive.
Yeah.
And Circle of Hope is helping to support those folks dealing with that type of tragedy in their lives. But it's expensive for Circle of Hope to deal with as well, friends, and they need your support. And man, they're doing it. They're asking for your support in a way that's going to be so much fun. We're going to talk about that when we get back. I am Matt Watson. You are listening to SCVi and iLead Schools Eye on the Valley on your hometown station, KHTS. Welcome back. You are listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. I am Matt Watson, and you are listening to SCVi and iLead Schools Eye on the Valley. I'm joined this morning by Alison Lindemann, past chairwoman of the board of Circle of Hope and chairperson for an amazing event that they've got coming up soon. Alison, we were talking before the break about the cost of survivorship, and that's why Circle of Hope exists, and that's why you're here asking for some help from our listeners this morning. Y'all rely on something like 90%, maybe it's even more, of your funding comes straight from private efforts.
Yes, it does.
Like donations, like the different charitable events that you put on. I love your calendar. You guys set an event for every season.
Yeah.
You've got a fall, winter, spring, and summer. Just this past fall, you celebrated your 20th annual tea event. Can you talk to us about that?
Oh, yeah, that was great. So that was our founding fundraiser that Colleen, our founder, kicked off at her house.
Oh,
Yeah, and so it's they all have a different feel for them.
Sure.
So that's more of a traditional tea, and where we honor our roots, but also we look at the things we've accomplished, and we typically honor some of our client survivors. And so quite a few survivors attend the tea at our expense, or someone in the community donates tickets from them, so they're there. The year I chaired it, and the following year, last year, we had our keynote be one of our clients.
okay.
Who told their stories.
Yeah.
So versus showing videos. I think we did show a video, but just that is one of our events where we try to let the community see these are the real people.
Yeah.
This isn't just, we don't just process paper in an office somewhere. These are people who can tell you about what it means to them. They're in our facility every single week. It is and some people, it's their only real support because of their family dynamic.
Yeah.
So they need community, and they get it from us. So they plan with their friends, which day are you going to this class? And they come together, So, people like me who are there a lot, I can't imagine not having it.
Sure.
And just hearing from people, even the spouses or family, to say thank you for everything that you've done. If I couldn't bring my mother here every week, I don't know what she would do.
Yeah.
And one thing I'll say too is, we also have quite a few young people.
Okay.
So when you picture the room, if you have
All right.
these are their brain cancer in their early 40s. These are a person who had just had a baby and then had a mass in her stomach the size of a football, and she just thought that it was something to do with the pregnancy. It was a huge tumor.
Wow.
And she went on to have blood cancer and had to have what is a very painful treatment. And she had to leave her babies and be in a safe house for months.
Wow.
Getting the stem cell transplant. And leaving her babies behind because she had 2 in a row.
Can't even imagine. So you go from the annual tea, which I can imagine is
And she
is
spoke at the tea. She was our speaker.
And it's such a lovely event. But you mentioned that each event has its own feel. You've
Yeah.
got something for everyone. So you go from the the pinkies up
Yeah.
tea
And
to
our decorated
your-
tables and
right
the theme, yeah.
to your winter event that I'm guessing is totally different. You're bowling for hope.
Yeah, Bowling for Hope
yeah.
is just more of a pure fun, rent
Yeah.
a lane. You know, it's easy for us to put on, doesn't make the revenue, but it's a quick punch for us at the
Okay.
holidays.
Oh,
it
great.
helps us financially.
Great. And then you come into the swing. I know you just celebrated this not long ago and an event I fell in love with just a couple
Oh,
years
Vine to
back.
Wine?
Vine to
Yeah.
Wine. Talk about that event.
Well, that event it kind of has changed into different things over time, you know, from before my time, even I believe an outdoor, more wine tasting focus. But it is, I guess, we don't really have an event we call our signature. It has the capability of being the highest funding.
Okay.
You know, so it usually is the ticket prices are more expensive. It's a more dressed up event.
Sure.
You know, the food and things are more expensive for us to put on. So it's definitely an evening cocktail attire type of event. Very different than Hoedown, right?
Yes.
But it draws usually more expensive auction items.
Got great auction
You know?
items, great live music. Yeah.
We've had bands the last years. It always helps. I've been a big push over my time as leadership, bringing in more live music.
Folks love live
Yeah.
music. They really do. I was at an event last night that featured a live musician, and it was phenomenal.
Changes
kept people
everything.
around, and
Yeah.
it sort of loosened up people's wallets a little bit, which is
Yeah.
an added bonus. But
So yeah,
that's
Vine to Wine is really important. This past year, it was kind of cool. I formed a little partnership with BMW, and so they were our title sponsor, and they brought, I don't remember, 4 or 5 of their cars.
oh cool.
Really nice cars, and they manned them. They stayed, they talked to people, and literally someone bought one.
Yeah.
So to me, it's one of the best sales to go
Yeah.
to ask for a title sponsor and go, hey, last time we had a title sponsor, they bought a car.
Yeah, yeah.
You know?
Yeah, definitely. So you talked about it is a little bit more of a we'll call it kind of a ritzy upscale event, and those are important because you really do make good use of the money supporting cancer patients. But you're changing tack a little bit on your upcoming event. I remember growing up in this town, my mother was always at all the events and just kind of quietly supporting a lot of different organizations. And as I grew up, she started telling me, hey, you need to go to this event. You should go to that event. And I would tell her, Mom, I'm a teacher. There's a limit to how many of these high-end events that I can get to. But you know what? Even you teachers out there, you can get to this next one. Your summer event is coming up, and it is called Hoedown for Hope. And your idea on this one is, let's get everyone into this event. Can you talk about Hoedown?
Yeah, so it's June 21st, a Saturday. It's 6 p.m. to 10 p.m.
Pull out your calendars now. Put it on there, June 21st.
Thank you. 6 to 10. It's at Gilchrist Farm right here in Santa Clarita, an amazing small business
Sure.
active farm that hosts many kids.
Yes.
Field trips like almost every day. They're a lovely family.
They really are, but don't worry, no kid's going to be there on June 21st in the evening. This is an
Adults
adult
only.
event.
21 and over,
Okay.
but you still can go pet the little animals in the zoo.
I love it, and you don't have to fight the kindergartners to get to the goats.
No.
Yeah.
And they have a stage on their farm, and so that's where we hold our concert. You know, there's a lot there is country music, there is line dancing, but they also play rock.
Okay.
So it's a mixed night for all people that like different types of genres of music, old and new, you know, country, a little heavy metal, and rock, you know.
Sure.
So it kind of hopefully hits everybody's palette of music.
Yeah.
It's a full barbecue dinner. There's even games you can play on the farm. There's a butterfly exhibit that's super cool. So I don't know if hatch is the word, hundreds of butterflies in this dome.
Okay.
And so it's included in this event to go in there and do the butterfly experience. So it's super fun.
That is so cool.
Yeah, and then there's just like things out like horseshoes and cornhole and stuff if people want to just, that kind of depends if we're going to have either a 72-degree day or it's going to be a flipping 95, right? We don't know yet.
But you know what? What I love is as I get into the summertime, and you can kind of tell by the way I'm dressed today, I'm a little over the suit and tie kind of thing.
No need to dress up. Dress for the weather.
Yeah,
There's
throw on
lots
your
of
Stetson and your
covered
jeans.
Areas.
And
We the first year, well, it was really the second year, but the first year we had it at Gilcrest, we started it way early in the day. And it went a little longer. And so last year we switched it. And so it's really more of an evening event. So you know how it is here. It cools down.
So even when it's hot, it's going to cool down.
It may be the first
that breeze
hour.
is going to kick
and
up.
Go under the cover,
And that's what your cowboy hat is for?
Yeah.
So put on your cowboy hat and your jeans.
It wasn't unbearable. She gets a breeze there.
And you mentioned you've got a lot of events, Allison. I feel like you just kind of blew past that stoplight there. I'm looking at your website for the event. You got axe throwing. You got axe throwing coming up, so you can get out there if you're into the butterflies. Go into the tent and hang out with the butterflies. Find your zen.
Yeah.
Or if that's not doing it for you, and your zen includes throwing sharp objects, go chuck an axe around.
And then we just have fun and they are like drink related, just like wine pull and
okay. So
walks.
I saw that. Talk to me about a wine pull.
Well, okay, the wine pull is more. And here's how I think we're doing it this year. So I'm not in charge of it, but we one year did it where you're just purely. So let's say you pay $15 to pull. Mm-hmm. $15 wines are the cheapest wine in the pull. So they're covered, the wine bags. 15, but they go up to quite expensive.
So this is kind of like a lottery ticket where everybody wins.
But you're going to get the worst case is you paid $15 and got a $15 bottle of wine.
That's
right?
worst case scenario.
But you're hoping you pulled, something else.
$150 bottle of wine.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
We also did last year, and I can't tell you exactly which ones we're doing this year. We also did ring toss for wine.
Okay. Oh,
so we formed
fun.
all the bottles and you tossed the word. But the other one that I also loved is we did the booze walk.
Okay, I saw that too. Is this like a cakewalk?
It's like a cakewalk.
Okay.
You want to know? With the first year when I was doing it, we did the cakewalk because I brought it here from Texas. Because we used to do cakewalks when I lived in Texas at all the fairs. But then we got a really hot day, and we're like, because you're supposed to take the cake. That's how it was in Texas. But now it's 95. Do you think these people want to stick the cake in their car?
Yeah, good point.
Anyway, so we changed it, and of course changed it to booze. Mm-hmm. But people really liked it.
Yeah.
And you're just basically playing musical chairs.
Right. Right.
For grown-ups.
Yeah. So you got the wine pull, you got the booze walk. We mentioned the butterflies and the axes.
So you can get up and do things. You can get up and dance. You can chill out and enjoy the barbecue, listen to the music with your friends. There is a VIP section that those tickets are $99 instead of $59.
Okay, so again, you're blowing through stop signs all over the place here. Allison, I was in an event just last weekend that it was $150 just to get in the door for one person. Tell me again what the ticket is on this.
$59.
$59.
Is the general tickets. Just to say it backwards. The only thing you don't get, there's nothing wrong with $59 tickets.
No.
The event starts at 6. If you pay the $99, you get in 1 hour early. If you 1 hour early, you can't make it, then don't
beat the rush to the butterfly tent.
Yeah. And if you can't do it, get your $59 ticket, And then they get like, I can't remember, they get like an extra drink ticket and like an extra activity ticket thing.
Okay, so the $59, it includes entry to the event. The butterflies.
The dinners.
The dinner.
Then they would have to buy the wine and beer for $5.
You've got an amazing barbecue dinner.
Yes, we do.
Amazing barbecue dinner. If you're going out for dinner on a Saturday night in Santa Clarita for amazing barbecue, you're going to spend close to $60 already.
Yeah.
So now you're getting this amazing activity that's supporting cancer patients. You're getting a drink coupon or two as you come through the door? Is that what you said?
I'm trying to remember this. I don't want to tell you the wrong thing. It's the VIP.
Oh, the VIP is what gets
drink tickets.
Okay.
Yeah. And then so if you have a general, you do have to pay $5 for a drink. But again, where can you go and pay $5 for a drink?
Allison, How are you guys making money on this? $5
Well,
for beer and wine.
Do you want me to answer that question?
Yeah.
We had to buy the barbecue. Okay, it has to be good barbecue. So that's just a hard
Absolutely.
cost. God love Gilchrist Farms and Monica because they
she's
let
amazing.
us use the facility for free. Free.
God bless 'em.
We can't get in there when we want to come. There's a
Right,
fee to
right.
go in that farm, and then we have to beg and coerce different alcoholic suppliers, distributors to give us the drinks.
All right.
Because we don't want to have to go for this low ticket price. We can't be buying all that beer.
Yeah.
So we're hoping, and I'm sure we'll get it.
Okay.
So, our costs are fairly minimal, but except for the food. The food's quite pricey.
Sure.
So that's a margin. We'll do better on the $99 tickets.
Of
but
course.
we want people, because you know what? If there's someone, I don't know why I say Canyon Country, because there may be farther from our center and they don't see our cancer center from the road. It could be a Stevenson Ranch, but and if they just come and enjoy this day and pay the $59, I don't want this to happen, but in 6 months from now, they may know someone with cancer, and now they realize they have somewhere they can send them to.
It's about getting the word out about
what
Circle
we
of
do.
Hope as
And
well.
like I said, there's not going to be a dog and pony show presentation or anything. There's going to be one booth. If you want to come to the booth and understand our monthly giving program and what we do and how we can help you, that's it.
Yep.
So some people don't like to sit through speeches, and there's nothing. This is just a fun activity.
Absolutely. And where you're going to make the money for Circle of Hope is through the volume. At $59, you're able to get everybody in and have a great time.
We're hoping.
And then while they're there, you know what, friends? Plan it now. Once again, it is Saturday, June 21st, 6 to 10 p.m. I'm going to ask you to go there, pay your $59 to get in, enjoy the amazing barbecue dinner, all the entertainment. You've got music, axe throwing, all this stuff, and then $5 beers. Hey, you know what?
$5 wines also.
$5 wine too. Don't have one or two. Have 4 or 5. Schedule your Uber.
Yeah.
And just have an absolutely amazing evening. And then for those of you, and I know you're out there. I know, like Big T, he's a little bit more on the bougie side, right? He's not living on a teacher salary. If you like to throw a little bit of money around, you've got a silent auction as well at this one.
Yeah.
So you've got some amazing silent auction items that
We always do quite well with what we get for silent auctions.
Yes, you do. At Vine to Wine, it blew my mind, some of the stuff you got. Vacations to the Caribbean and stuff like that, I remember. And then, of course, if you want to have lunch with one of the local politicians and see what that guy knows or that girl knows. So lots of fun. Okay. So it blows my mind. $59 for one of these amazing charity events in town is unheard of. Again, June 21st. How do folks get tickets, Allison?
They go to circleofhopeinc.org, our website.
Okay.
And right at the top in the banner, it'll show buy your hoedown tickets.
Yep.
So go right to there and boom. You could have 2 tickets and have something on your calendar for June.
Absolutely. Again, you're looking into the summer. It's Memorial Day weekend, and you're looking ahead to the summer. What are we going to do this summer? Well, what you're going to do is you're going to schedule your vacation around June 21st because you need to be in town. Go to circleofhopeinc.org and click on Buy Hoedown Tickets. I can't believe you can do this cheap, Allison. This is amazing, and it's serving such an incredible cause. So, again, you've got a country band. It's G3.
G3, and they play plenty of rock. They're a great local band in Santa Clarita. It's like support local again. They're great guys.
Fantastic. Yeah. So you're going to have the line dancing, but then you'll also have some rock music for folks to dance to, whatever floats your boat. And so I hate to say it, we're giving people plenty of time to schedule your calendars, but in the off chance, you know what? I'm not going to say if folks can't make it. Your calendar's clear, right? Just put it on the calendar for June 21st. But what about folks that want to start early and start helping out, or maybe even be one of those folks that gives to Circle of Hope year-round? What can they do?
So literally on that same website, there's a button that says donate. And so if you just believed in the cause, and Matt did such a good description of who we are and why we need you, you can go there, click donate, and it will give you options. $10 a month,
Yep.
$20 a month, whatever seems reasonable, and you'll know that you're helping us. That even in that range, that pays for one person to attend one of our classes every month.
Oh, wow.
For example, we do a flower arranging class. That class has waiting lists every month, and we have to get all the flowers. To
Yep.
do the class. The volunteer doesn't charge, but we have supply.
Yep.
We have a person that does juicing class
Oh,
to make
nice,
healthy
nice.
juices and teach them how to make. So even that kind of amount really helps us.
Yeah.
And so that's another strategy we're trying, is that it's harder to get these bigger donations, as you know, and every other sister organization here goes through these same,
Sure.
trying to find title sponsors and things. But maybe we need to look at things like this, just with the small things that you commit to on a regular basis really
Yeah.
add up.
Yeah, absolutely.
If
So
we
certainly
could get
worth
100 people who would do that.
Yeah.
100 out of how many thousands here?
and $10 a month, you're not going to miss
It
it.
would change our ability to
You're
serve
not
our
going to miss
community.
it. Yeah,
So,
absolutely. But you did speak about sponsors. Do you still have sponsorships
Yes,
available?
absolutely.
Okay, because imagine this. It's middle of summer, June 21st. $59 price tag to get into an event like this. There's going to be hundreds of people out there at Gilchrist Farms. And so why wouldn't you want to, as a small business or a medium-sized business in town, why wouldn't you be sponsoring this event? So again, they can sponsor it by going to the website?
Yeah, the website has all the sponsorship levels.
Okay.
And you'll see how many tickets and things that come with them. So it's like, bring your company, bring your coworkers, do something nice for them. It's
Absolutely.
not expensive.
Absolutely. Again, you can get your tickets or you can sign up to be a sponsor at circleofhopeinc.org. I'm going to get mine as soon as the show is over.
Yay.
Come hang out on a summer evening with Frogger. One more time, Allison, it is Saturday, June 21st, 6 to 10 p.m. It is the Hoedown for Hope, raising money to help support people dealing with a cancer diagnosis. But forget about it. $59, you're throwing axes, you're enjoying barbecue and beer and line dancing and butterflies and all the amazing things. It's just going to be such a fun night. Allison, I want to thank you for all you do
Thank you, man.
to support those in need in our community. And I wonder if you've got just a little bit more in you to support someone else in need in our community. Certainly nothing to compare with a cancer diagnosis, but I am long-suffering in that Mom makes me bring my brother on the radio show every week, and I've got to deal with him. Can you stick around and help support me?
Okay.
All right, great, thank you.
I can't promise you a rose garden.
Okay, no. I
But-
just need you to tolerate my brother for about 10 minutes. He's got some trivia, some bad trivia, some not so fun facts, and some extremely questionable life advice for our listeners.
Okay, let's
It's
hear
really
it.
tough to take, but if you can stick around and help me out, I'd appreciate it.
I'll do it.
Alison Lindemann, Circle of Hope, Hoedown for Hope, circleofhopeinc.org/hoedown. Stay tuned. We've got Big T's 5 Minutes of Fame coming up. I am Matt Watson, and this is SCVi and iLead School's Eye on the Valley on your hometown station, KHTS. Welcome back. You are listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. This is SCVi and iLead School's Eye on the Valley. I am your host, Matt Watson. Alison Lindemann with Circle of Hope joins me this morning. Delgado from Delgado in the Morning. Good morning, Santa Clarita is here in the studio as well. They are here just in time for Big T's 5 Minutes of Fame. Y'all know Big T. He is an executive and philanthropist. He is an amazing father, husband, and dog dad, and he is like a limited time offer, confusing, unnecessary, and somehow still here. Allison, he is Mom's favorite. He is Big T. Welcome to the show.
I also come with lots of small print.
Yes, you do. But to be fair, the print was a lot larger when you originally had it tattooed on you.
Yes, it was. Hey, ready for some fun?
We are ready for some fun. You got your 5 minutes, T.
Perfect. So I got a couple of shenanigans this morning about just some ways to keep people on their toes about a topic that normally makes people feel a little uncomfortable, which, Big T loves this stuff. So first shenanigan, Jen, you'll love these. Okay, go to a deli to place a catering order. Let them know that you want to pre-order and prepay for a catering order, but tell them you don't know the date yet. Let them know several times that it's for your funeral. Emphasize it's for your funeral. Okay?
Jeez.
Then tell them you want a variety of 60 sandwiches, but hold the tomatoes. It's really important because I'm allergic to tomatoes. No tomatoes, please. I'm allergic.
Deathly allergic.
You are complicated, Tony, and I love
boy.
you for it.
Now, Frogger, same subject. Okay, you and I actually have this agreement, believe it or not. If I go before you, you know that you're supposed to bring my cell phone to my eulogy.
Yes.
And mid-service, I want you to text all my contacts. Hey, open up. It's dark in here.
I'm on it. Big T going out with a
you are.
prank.
I know you won't let me down.
I will not.
I've actually gotten Erica to sign off on it, believe it or not, Jen.
I do believe that. I figured it'd be like wipe the cell phone clean, like get rid of any text messages.
Oh yeah, there's something. There's also a clause in
Incriminating
there about
evidence.
deleting browsing history and things like that. Yeah.
Correct. Lastly, people always talk about someone's last words. Well, I'm going to kick it up just a little notch. If you know you're going to die, or maybe just before you die, swallow a whole bag of popcorn kernels. Your cremation will be epic.
Oh my God.
Knock it off.
I'm done.
Yes, please. Yes.
All
Are
right.
you ready for some trivia?
Yes, here we go. So, Allison, Tony's got some trivia questions.
Oh,
If
I'm
you know the
scared.
answer,
I'm scared.
you hit your buzzer.
What's my buzzer?
It's your name.
Oh.
So just call out your name. So you'll be Allison. We got Andrew. We got Jen. For whatever reason, I'm Frogger. Big T, we've only got a couple of minutes, so let's do this.
Perfect. We got some 80s music trivia. So what 1982 Toto song, whose title is a continent, experienced
Jen.
a resurgence in pop?
Africa.
Jen.
Oh.
Africa.
Did I move?
You got
missed
it.
your buzzer.
You got it.
You got
You missed
it.
your buzzer. Oh, wow. Look
Nope, she gets the point.
at Jen is
Sorry.
being
That's all right.
generous. Going to remind our contestants
Perfect.
to please hit your buzzer before
Sorry.
you answer.
All right. According to the hit 1981 song by Tommy Two-Tone, if you dial 867-530, Jen,
Jenny,
Jenny,
thank you for the softball.
all the old paintings on the tombs, they do the sand dance, don't you know?
Frogger.
According to what 1980 Frogger?
Walk like an Egyptian.
No.
Walk Like an Egyptian by the Bengals. Very
Oh, yeah.
good.
When the Bengals are singing, boy, I am paying attention.
Right. What singer went from massive success off her 1984 album Private Dancer to
Jen.
starring as a villain in the 1985 film Mad Max?
Go for it, Jen.
Tina Turner?
Yes.
Tina Turner's correct.
Yeah.
Andrew Ridgely was the name of the other
Frogger.
guy, and what? Frogger.
He was the guy with the hat from Wham.
Other guy.
Other
The
guy.
other guy from Wham.
Yes.
Which women's musical group had a #1 hit in the 1980s with Walk Like an Egyptian and Eternal Flame?
Frogger.
Okay.
The Bengals. I feel like I got that point a couple minutes ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. What 1980s R&B boy band had members such as Bobby Brown and all
Andrew.
3 future members of
Oh.
DeBo? Andrew,
New edition.
Yes.
New Edition is correct. 80s singer Tiffany was just 15 years old when she covered
Jen.
covered the version. Jen,
I think we're alone now.
I think we're alone now. She covered Tommy
Well, the
James
four
and the
of us.
Shondells.
Yes.
The rapper Q-Tip was part of what alternative hip
Andrew.
hop group? Andrew.
Like how I get
I
pointed
knew.
at.
I knew.
What was it?
Tribe Called Quest.
Tribe Called Quest. Can I kick it?
I know my guy.
Yes, you can.
He knows.
Yes, you can. What rock guitarist played on Michael Jackson's song "Beat It"?
Andrew,
Oh,
Andrew.
was it Slash?
no, Frogger.
Incorrect. Frogger.
That was Eddie Van Halen.
You got a little excited there, Frogger.
I did, because I know that we're running out of time, and that one put me in the lead. Oh, I wish we had
Red
time
Red
for
Wine.
more, but we do have to wrap up, Big T. Thanks for swinging by. I also want to thank our guest, leadership resident at iLead Agua Dulce, Laura Jaeggi, with Circle of Hope, Alison Lindemann. Remember,
Thank
June
you.
21st, Saturday, June 21st, get out to the Hoedown for Hope. Producer Sarah, engineer Andrew, engineer Jen, and thank you for listening. Remember, friends, life is hard, but we're all here to help each other along. Be well and do good. And you can do both of these things by going to the Circle of Hope's Hoedown for Hope, June 21st. Get on their website and check it out. And join us next week and every Friday, 8 to 10 a.m. I am Matt Watson, and this is SCVi and iLead School's Eye on the Valley on your hometown station, KHTS.